Texans keep their season alive with one of the biggest wins that we've seen in a long, long time, and Davis Mills was a big part of it, as well as some others. Let's react to it live in the Locker Room postgame show.
Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the Locker Room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah.
What an absolutely insane win by the Houston Texans. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. We talked about it before this game. They had to win this game in order to keep their season alive. J.J. Watt mentioned it multiple times throughout the broadcast. And we said it as soon as they started out 0-3. If they want even a small puncher's chance of doing anything with this season and turning stuff around, the Texans were going to have to be 5-5 after Week 11, which they have a chance to do. They will face the dog-butted Titans, and they will have an opportunity to do that. And I got to say, it's one of the more surprising wins for a number of reasons. Based on what we saw early on. Like this, the way that the Texans started out this game, there was no chance that they really deserved to win the game. They were down by 10 points at half, and you looked at that and you said, my God, on one hand, the Texans are lucky to be down 10. On the other hand, Jacksonville really hasn't done much, but they've got a Davis Mills interception on the first drive, and they ended up getting a muffed kick from Tremon Smith, and they ended up capitalizing and taking advantage of that. But I'll be damned if the Texans don't come back and get this game. And my biggest takeaway from this is, first of all, I got to eat some crow because I did not think Trent Brown could actually play in a football game for an extended period of time. But not only did he play, he did a pretty good job. And the Texans started this game out with a really weird offensive line. Cody Stutes was the first one to notice this. He pointed it out during warmups. We actually saw this during practice. We just didn't think there was any and we brought it up on SNL. But we didn't think there was any chance they were going to go with this, but I'll be damned. They start out with Patterson, and Brown on the offensive line. So Jared Patterson goes to left guard. They avoid Juice Scruggs by starting a practice squad guy, and then Trent Brown is right there at right tackle instead of Blake Fisher. So we've seen hints that they are kind of hesitant to play Blake Fisher. That continues, that avoidance that we saw outside of jumbo packages in training camp, that continues. They've been hesitant to play Juice Scruggs. That only lasted today. They took it to a new level today, but that whole little thing lasted for 2 series, and then Juice Scruggs was right back in there. And the offensive line, especially at the end of the game when the Texans were trying to run the ball and when they needed to run the ball on the game-winning drive, the offensive line was doing a really good job. And quite frankly, I think Davis Mills did a good job making the offensive line look better. I mean, we talk about C.J. Stroud's escapability. Davis Mills displayed some pretty damn strong escapability today. And he probably deserved to get a little bit more sacked than he actually did. And he did a good job extending plays. And he was very clutch when they actually needed it. I thought they did a good job stealing points at the end of the first half. And when Davis Mills needed to turn it up, he turned it up. And the Texans ended up winning the game. That's what you need from your backup quarterback. And I think this is one of the better starting quarterback with all things considered. This is one of the better quarterback performances that we've seen from a Texans starting quarterback in a long, long time. And do I think Davis Mills should be the starter? Hell no. I don't think that. But I think with a whole week to prepare, we still saw some delay of games. It still wasn't perfect. There were some misfires. There was probably opportunity for Jags players to get more interceptions than they ended up with. But when you factor in that the entire right side of the offensive line was out, that you needed to win this game, and you look at how clutch Davis Mills was in the second half, 3 third-down scores. 3 third-down scores. This is a team that even with C.J. Stroud, they are the worst team inside the 5-yard line. The worst team in the entire NFL inside the 5-yard line. And we saw that early with Davis Mills too, and we saw it last week. But when it mattered the most, when they needed to step it up, he finds Dalton Schultz in the back corner of the end zone. He finds Higgins in the middle of the end zone. And then after the Texans get down to the 2-yard line and they have a couple of penalties, Davis Mills uses his legs and he dives into the end zone, and it ends up being the game-winning score in a game that you really need. You factor everything in. There has not been a better quarterback performance this year. Now, if you want to be a nerd and like look at stats and say San Francisco or Baltimore, fine. If CJ Stroud did this, I think we would be saying the exact same thing. This is not a Davis Mills is better than CJ Stroud. I know there's going to be some people that are perhaps hinting at some QB controversy. That's not what this is. But as far as the performance, making the offensive line look better, the display of clutch that Davis Mills put out there, this was the best quarterback performance of the season. And if you don't think so, then which one are you picking? Are you picking the San Francisco game as a better performance? I mean, maybe if you just look at passing yards, if you want, but like as far as like actually having to do something and having to crank it up a notch, you're picking that game? You're picking Baltimore, depleted Baltimore? No, this was a decent team. I think the question about how good the Jags are, I think that's relevant. Trevor Lawrence sucks too, by the way. I mean, that is the ultimate display of a quarterback who is if you look at the numbers between Davis Mills and Trevor Lawrence now, Davis Mills is now 3-1 against Trevor Lawrence. He's now 3-1 against Trevor Lawrence, and the yards and everything, it's not even close. The yards, any stat you want to look at, it's not even close. And Davis Mills completely owns Trevor Lawrence at this point, and he was the better quarterback today. Just like C.J. Stroud usually is when he plays Trevor Lawrence. He's typically the better quarterback. But Davis Mills today, if you're going to minimize what he did, that's the ultimate example of hating. And I don't mind hating. Hey, haters welcome. Haters welcome. I'll hate every once in a while too. But with everything factored in, what realistic expectations are, we talk a lot about surroundings, QB surroundings. You have Trent Brown playing his first game in a long time. I got to eat a hell of a lot of food now because it took 1 week for Trent Brown to go up there and play over 35 snaps. So me and Cody had the bet. I'm going to have to eat, I don't even know how much food during a stream this week. It's a win. Cody was at his fattest fast food order, which is going to be miserable. But Trent Brown proved me wrong. And Davis Mills, when Trent Brown was getting beat or anyone was getting beat, Davis Mills did a hell of a job of hanging in there, displaying toughness and getting the job done. I thought another key moment for Davis Mills where you kind of saw his toughness, Travon Walker basically rock bottomed him onto the turf. Interesting call. I think if Danielle Hunter or Will Anderson had done that, I think probably you would question it. I question it still, but it's just one of those tough situations. He did maybe put a little bit more into it, but the very next play, Davis Mills completes a pass and he shows his toughness. He had his elbow swelling up. You saw his left elbow. It looked like it had a baseball on it. He had to put a sleeve on it. And he went out there and gutted that out. Matter of fact, after he got it wrapped up, he used that left arm to stiff arm a guy. Davis Mills displayed a hell of a lot of toughness. He displayed a hell of a lot of clutch. And Davis Mills is a big part of why CJ Stroud is going to have a chance when it actually matters to perform and give the Texans a chance to perhaps make the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yes, that's what they're doing. He kept the light on for CJ Stroud today. But the performance that Davis Mills put on today, whether it was CJ Stroud, whether it was anyone else, it was nice. Like, if you want to minimize that, then dude, don't. Why? Why would you do that? Like, there's not like some sort of hidden agenda. You don't have to act like deranged parents when it comes to like the CJ Stroud Davis Mills thing. Like, he played his ass off today. It's okay to say. And it's also okay to say he played his ass off and he's still the backup quarterback. Let's go to the chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Maxwell77 says DeMeco won't want any negative comments, Landry. There's not much to be negative about right now. There's not much to be negative about after a game like that, after a performance like that. There's not very much to be negative about. That's a hell of a game. They did what they needed to do, and they went out there and they handled their business. There's nothing to be negative about on that. It was a hell of a performance all the way around. Landry, you still think Trent Brown can't play? Only one false start and allowed 0 sacks and wasn't moving that slow as a backup. Nah, he made a fool of me. And that's going to be welcome. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep him on the field, if they move Titus Howard to guard. Maybe their new offensive line will be Trent Brown at right tackle, Titus Howard at guard, and then figure out whatever they want to figure out at left guard. But no, I was shocked to see Trent Brown out there for the entire duration. Maybe we should have seen this coming because of Blake Fisher, but I did not think Trent Brown was ready to play a football game. So yeah, and that was it was pleasant to see Trent Brown do his thing. Preston says that's the way to fight, men. Let's go Texans. Great team win and sticking together. Yeah, hell of a dub. Absolute hell of a dub. Logan Taylor, the Trent Brown thing. Landry still think Trent Brown can't play. No sex. Nah, he played his ass off. He played his ass off, and I'm going to have to eat my ass off as a result. Preston says Money Mills better get a game ball. Texans turf, Kings of the Turf coming up in a second. We'll also hear from Davis Mills. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans in a second, what he had to say. His defense showed a little vulnerability in the third quarter. Missed tackles, long third downs, but they ended up gutting it out at the end. Danielle Hunter, by the way, best player on the field today. That was the best game that Danielle Hunter has played as a Texan, and I don't know how many games I don't have his Viking archive at my disposal, but I'm assuming Danielle Hunter has not played very many football games better than that one. He was by far the best player on the field. Team player says that's Dougie and Mills to you, sir. Yeah, he's doing his thing. Davis Mills very popular. Miguel says, Houston, we have a quarterback. Come on. Felix says, respect the neck. Jacksonville sure does. Bubba Homeschool says we are officially in the hunt, 12-5, LFG. And McDapple says, was nice to see changes at the line. Yeah, it seemed like they're in good control. There were still a couple of false start penalties, but that was solid. Heck says Mills looked poised and never rattled. Yeah, the body language was great. And look, when your elbow, when you have baseball size thing on your left arm and you're getting roughed up like he was, I think you could easily just lay down. I thought Davis Mills did his thing. Let's hear from DeMeco. It's a big win for DeMeco. Who knows what the dialogue would have been had the Texans not won this game. There are a couple interesting moments with DeMeco. Maybe he'll be asked about that. But let's hear from DeMeco. It's a pretty positive day for the head coach of the Texans. Let's hear what he had to say.
Oh, what a game. First, I have to give glory to God. It's not about us and praising us for what we do. It's all glory to God. And I'm just thankful for finding a way to win this game, especially coming in with a heavy heart. Lost my best friend, Earl Cochran. So I know he's smiling down on us right now. He would be very proud.
Two questions. What did he mean to you? How was it to get that win for him? And what was it that felt like? How about I ask the second question after you answer that one?
Okay. First off, you talk about Earl, just a stand-up guy, close friend. I mean, loving, caring, big heart, give the shirt off his back to anybody. Like he was just treated people the right way, loved people. Always had a big smile, big heart. Very wise, so I'm just thankful to have had him as a friend here.
And you all hadn't finished games this year, but you all were able to do it here. Got contributions, offense, and defense. What do you think was key to being able to do that?
Yeah, the key for our entire game today is, no one blinked. Like I talked to the guys last night about this is going to be a heavyweight fight, and we got to keep throwing punches no matter how it looks. It may look rough. It doesn't matter. I didn't want anybody to blink. I wanted everybody to continue to press forward, to keep punching, right? And that's what they did. Coming out in the second half, like it's the best second half we've had because we played complementary football. Everything that could go wrong went wrong as soon as the game started. And so for us to battle and have that resilience, it's like that's what good football looks like. That's what we've been missing. I told the guys we've been in this situation before in the fourth quarter where we've allowed the quarterback to scramble and make a play. So we knew the D-line had to come up big and get stops for us, and they did that. So when you have, I can't say all of that without saying how Davis played. Davis did an outstanding job of leading the offense all week, and he did it again today to come out and have a pick on the first drive, right? It's easy to go in the tank, but he bounced back. He kept battling, kept making plays. And, he goes for 3 touchdowns and the one rushing one that we needed the most at the end. So I'm proud of Davis for the way he stepped up, led all week.
You've been a part of 2 of the biggest comebacks in franchise history. Obviously, the one against the Chargers and obviously today. Just going to today, this was second at the time for the most biggest comeback this season among all NFL teams. What are you feeling having been able to be a part of that?
Oh, man, my heart is full. I'm so proud of our guys, man, because it's something we've been trying to find, right? It's that belief, that resilience that you need. And I'm just so proud of our guys and not just the player, I'm proud of the coaches and players. Like I was just asking them all week just to make sure we're all in this thing together. No matter how the game looks, everybody just stick together, continue to bring positive energy, right? And we finish with the knockout punch there at the end that we needed.
Coach, you mentioned the fact about being proud of these guys, but it's one game, but one game can be pivotal in the season. Do you have to get to the end and finally realize what this game might have meant to this team, or just take it for what it's worth today?
Yeah, I take it. I take this moment right now, and I'm a relish in this moment and love this moment for how our team battled, right? And yes, I hope it's a springboard for us, moving throughout the season, that we continue to see that it doesn't matter, right, what the scoreboard looks like. It's about how you execute, how you finish, how you play together, and how you have that belief in one another and in yourself, right, to go out and finish games like this.
Coach, I also have a 2-part question. First, throughout the week, watching film on Trevor Lawrence and the Jags offensively, what did you and Coach Burke gain from that film study to be able to kind of take away Trevor Lawrence and the rushing impact that the Jags have been able to have on the season for them so far? And also being down C.J. Stroud and a lot of the guys that has Howard, some of the leaders, can you speak to how impactful and important Nico Collins was for today's victory?
Yeah, from the film study, what we saw is main thing, we needed to stop the run. We knew they were going to be committed to stopping to rushing the football, so we did have to do a good job of stopping it. We didn't do our best. Like, we could have done much better, but we did enough, right? And we wanted to be in a position to make them have to throw the football to allow our D-line have to get after the quarterback, and that's what they did. They finished with 5 sacks. They did an outstanding job, and Daniil had one of his best games. So really proud of the effort up front and how those guys rushed. And that was our plan, and we executed it the right way. And when we needed it most, there at the end of the game, they came up big time for us. Nico has always been a big part of what we do, and he shined today. Nico and Davis have had that connection for a while. So it was fun to see those guys just getting back to what they've done before. And Nico he doesn't say anything, but he's one of our hardest workers. No matter how the game goes, he's always ready for an opportunity to make big plays for us.
DeMeco, knowing you as a defensive-minded coach coming on in and seeing Joe Rankins be able to put this game away with a defensive touchdown, just how exciting was it to be able to watch as this defense finally was able to get that crushing blow and put this thing away? Oh, man, it's one of the most exciting plays I've been a part of. To end the game like that with Rankins going in to score, man. Wow. It was an awesome play, and I was trying to meet him down there in the end zone.
From your perspective, obviously you guys are down 19 in the that's obviously able to ride. How much do you feel like a win like this could turn the tide for your season? Because you go from 3-6 to 4-5. How much do you feel like a win like this could turn the tide in the season?
This team, this game, all right, should do a lot when guys watch the film and they can see like the things we can even clean up in this game where we weren't clean or bad things happen. And I just look at the game as I look at life. It's like bad things are gonna happen. Like, do you hang your head and go run and hide? Do you quit? Do you give up? No. Like, you got to keep punching. In life, in football, you got to keep punching. And that's what this game showed today, man. You just have to keep playing with heart, playing with resilience, and hopefully the film shows our guys proof that we can battle and win in any type of game.
I think y'all outscored down 26-0 in the fourth quarter. But at what point did you feel the tide really changing for you all? Did you feel like you all were going to, you always have a chance, but you all were going to make this comeback?
I felt like we were actually moving the ball really well, and like all day offensively. Felt like we moved it well. Third downs, we were staying on the field.
Agree.
An area emphasis that we needed to improve, and also in the red zone, like just seeing some of the plays. Davis made critical third down there, backed up. Nice throw and catch to Dalton there towards our sideline. I think seeing the touchdown to Higg. Right, it was play after play that we ran. The way we ran the football, I thought Woody did a really nice job running the ball. Thought we created some displacement up front with our offensive line. Just a collective effort by everybody doing what they're supposed to do. We talk about executing all the time. When it doesn't go right, we don't execute, but that's what it looks like when we just execute the fundamentals.
Woody, for their impact, to see how well they were able to make plays in this game, how impressive you were with their maturity to understand what a moment this was to be able to force a comeback.
Yeah, our young guys, they continue to impress. Woody, Jalen Higg, I mean, they've all. Jay Noel makes big plays every game. It was fun to see Higgins and what he's capable of doing, just a big target on the outside, going up, making contested catches, doing an outstanding job. He's done that all year. We just got to find a way to continue to get him the ball. We got playmakers, a lot of guys to spread the ball around too, and I feel like our quarterback's done a good job of doing that.
Coach, you mentioned some of the 2025 draft class players. A lot of guys had some great individual performances today. Can you talk about the rookie left tackle, Ariante Ursary? Some of the things that you guys are just seeing from him and how he continues to be an ascending player for that offensive line.
I can't say enough about Tay. He's playing the toughest position in football, like left tackle. You're on that island a lot, and to be a rookie in that spot, I mean, from the first week till now, like he's gotten better each week. He's getting better, right? And he's doing a great job of, not losing focus. He's just locked in, doing his job the right way, and he has that desire. It means a lot to him to protect the quarterback, and he's doing a great job of it. All right, thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. That's DeMeco Ryans live at the pub. He's feeling it. I mean, that was an emotional game. You can tell. That's what it looks like after you get these emotional dubs. We'll hear from Davis Mills in a second. Kind of intrigued to hear what he's got to say. I mean, his performance was as good as you could possibly expect. Didn't start out well. Wasn't necessarily all his doing. He had the interception early on that was terrible, and that was kind of like a oh no, here we go type of vibe. But the Texans held there, and then you had the fumble by Tremont Smith, which kind of put the Texans in a tough spot. We'll go through the big moments in a sec. We'll get to the Kings of the Turf. Spoiler alert: Davis Mills and Daniil Hunter will be on that list. There's zero doubt about that. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the video. If you took the over in Mills passing yards and Nico Collins, you're good. And that's the other thing I liked about this from Davis Mills. I like that he was forcing it to Nico Collins. 15 targets. A lot of times he was throwing it to him when it appeared he was covered, but he was forcing the rock to Nico Collins. Some would say that the stats could be inflated because of the 50-yard pass at the end. But I thought that he did a good job of spreading it out while realizing who the dog is. And the dog is Nico Collins in this receiving group. I mean, this is what Nico Collins should look like week to week. And it was something that we talked about, and Davis Mills went out there and forced it to Nico. Let's get to the Texans turf, Kings of the Turf. Shout out to Dan and his team for doing for me what they did. They got me the turf. It was a stressful process. Didn't love the process of shopping for turf. I know a lot of people have reached out since I've started talking about Dan, saying, man, I had given up on it, but I'm happy that you shopped around for me so I don't have to, because there's a lot of slime ball turf guys. Dan's not one of those. Putting greens, play areas, always green, always clean. TexansTurf.com. They got you covered in the spirit of Texans turf. Let's go through the Kings of the Turf from the Texans dub against the Jags. Let's start with number one, best player on the football field today, Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter was the best player on the football field today. 3.5 sacks, 4 TFLs, wreaking havoc. I don't want to say it's been a bad year, but he was in a little bit of a slump when it came to sacks. But not today. Danielle Hunter, his best game probably as a Texan. He's had some goods, but this was his best. They needed it very badly, and he was there and he got the job done. So Danielle Hunter, Turf King number one. That was an easy choice. This one is too. Davis Mills, Davis effing Mills, a Turf King. When you have 3 touchdowns on third down in the red zone on a team that struggles from the red zone, worst in the league, 2 with your arm, 1 with your leg when they need it, that right there is big time stuff. You can't really measure that unless you're going to go into like some crazy advanced stats. You can't really measure how impressive that is. You also factor in that the entire right side of the offensive line was MIA, that he could have easily been sacked more. He could have easily hung his head, but he went out there and got the job done and did everything and more that you could ask for from a backup quarterback. I thought the offense, probably from front to end against a good team, this was the best they've looked against a, quote, good team. San Francisco, they did some good things. They did settle for field goals a hell of a lot against San Francisco. They didn't have that luxury today, and they didn't settle for field goals. And I think Davis Mills went out there and did his thing, and that was the best quarterback performance that we had in a while when you factor everything else in. Again, does that mean that he's better than CJ Stroud? No. Does that mean that he should start over CJ Stroud? No. Does it mean that maybe CJ Stroud can rest a little bit more and you can let Davis Mills go out there against Tennessee? Perhaps. I still think that we got to keep our eyes on that game. I don't think that's just a bunny. I don't think this team's good enough to just have bunnies, but from what you wanted from Davis Mills, I know the Mills Mafia is stronger now perhaps than it's ever been, but for what you needed and what you got, you couldn't ask for more, whether it was he or CJ. If CJ goes out there and does this, I mean, we are singing the praises of the quarterback. He held down the fort for his guy. We already mentioned the dog of the receiving core. I'm a dog. Nico Collins. I mean, my gosh, Nico Collins, he did his thing, and they forced it to him a little bit. There were times where he probably didn't appear open. They forced it to him. The one-handed grab on the 2-point conversion was massive. Ended up being one of the differences in the game. You had him doing the typical Nico stuff that we've become accustomed to. He made some catches in traffic. This is what Nico Collins is and what Nico Collins means. And salute to whether it's a Nick Caley thing, whether it's a Davis Mills thing, salute to them for force feeding their dog. I have no problem with that. Turf King number 4, the Chubb and Woody duo. I don't want to separate Nick Chubb. I don't want to separate Nick Chubb from this. I'm going to give
Chubb and Woody.
I'm going to give Nick Chubb some credit, because late in the game when they needed to run the ball, Nick Chubb had some runs that kind of eased the mood a little bit. Woody Marks, still want to see him more in the pass game. I still want to see a little bit more, but Woody Marks did his thing, whether it was running between the tackles, whether it was bouncing it outside. He got banged up, and you were a little bit concerned, but I'll be damned, he's back out there a few plays later. Woody Marks, Nick Chubb as a duo today, solid, everything you could ask for, especially on that final drive. They did not have to abandon the run on the final drive. And salute to the offensive line, too. I didn't put the offensive line on here, but the run blocking and Trent Brown's big ass just being able to basically lay on dudes The run blocking was solid and the backs were solid. Those are your Texans turf kings of the turf: Davis Mills, Nico Collins, Daniil Hunter, and the RB duo that I will bitch about a lot, but I'll give them credit when credit is due. So shout out to them for doing what they did. Let's go to the chat. I think someone wants someone fired on the chat. Can't win them all. Can't win them all.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Big Charles, he says, Landry, I have a football question. Does Jacksonville take a real long look at their QB? They already paid him. Trevor Lawrence sucks. Like, when it comes to what he's paid to be, Trevor Lawrence sucks. Nobody in their right mind thinks that Trevor Lawrence is a elite franchise quarterback. And my gosh, he is bad. And fortunately, when you're a backup and you're facing Trevor Lawrence, there's a couple of things that can happen. Maybe his surroundings overcome his weaknesses. Maybe good Trevor Lawrence, which appears every once in a while, maybe he shows up, or maybe you're able to outplay him and get the dub. And that's what we saw with Davis Mills. When Trevor Lawrence needed to make plays, he didn't make plays. That Derek Stingley interception was big. And the reason that was so big is you'd already given Jacksonville 10 points. You gave them the points on the Davis Mills interception, and you gave them the points on the Tremont Smith fumble. You've given them 10 points. You took away 3 with that one-handed interception by Derek Stingley because their kicker, I don't know if you heard it, he's got a lot of range. I think we heard that 675 times today from Ian and JJ, but he does. And to be able to, in that situation where they're right on the edge of his range, to steal 3 points there like Derek Stingley did, that was a big play. And Stingley's a little bit banged up, but that was a massive play by Derek Stingley to make that play, and you stole 3 of the 10 that you gave away. Alonzo says Big Chubb energy. You knew some of those were coming. Alonzo also says big neck energy. Okay, that could mean a lot of things. MHW Nation says Mills has grown a lot in the last 3 years. He's a good backup, very good backup. He did his thing. There's no doubt about it. He held down the fort. He can hold down the fort when you need him to. Dom in Jersey says, honestly, all caps, awesome game from Kaylee today. Landry, I know he's your boy, a, quote, friend of the show, but I want Frank Ross fired. Special teams are ass. If special teams aren't as bad as they were today, I don't know that this game's even close. I don't know that this game's even close. You allowed a punt return. You fumbled a kickoff. You allowed Jacksonville to have a couple of big returns. You didn't get a ton from the kicking game. Tommy Townsend's like hit or miss. Yeah, special teams have been bad. Does that mean I would fire Frank Ross? I would say probably not. But I know how you roll, Dom, and I like your passion and I respect it. But you are absolutely correct. What has for a long time been a strength of this team, special teams, terrible right now. And it has been something that's kind of held the team back. And today it was really, really bad from them. The special teams, not great. Let's hear from Davis Mills. And then we'll go through the big moments. You know, Davis Mills, not the most exciting guy, but Davis Mills, he goes up to the podium and he damn sure deserves to today. We'll get to the where credit is due, unsung heroes. We'll go through the big moments. We'll hear some more from you, and we'll look ahead at the situation the Texans are in. They did what they needed to do. Will it be enough? And could they get trapped in Tennessee? Let's hear from Davis Mills after a hell of a performance by him.
The early game blunders to how the performance you had.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off. I think our team had a really great week of practice. Kaylee put together a great offensive game plan along with the other offensive coaches, and we were able to go out there today and execute. And then to kind of answer the second part of that, I think anytime you kind of start off a little slow, I mean, the mentality of our team is to attack every play with aggression and just going out there to try to execute every play at a high level. So we were able to do that. Coaches stayed aggressive. I have always had the mentality to stay confident regardless of what happened on the play before. It's kind of like the old basketball mentality, shoot or shoot. If you stop, I mean, you're not going to see shots go in. So I think today was just a great team win. Defense was able to keep getting off the field, slow down their offense. Special teams made some plays, and as the game went on, our offense kept getting better and better, and we were able to go down there and find a way to win it at the end.
He's pumped, isn't he?
Davis, what did you see with the touchdown run?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of had an interview right after the game on the field, and we had we ended up calling a play that we had already called in the game. They kind of just sat back in zone coverage, and as I was getting through my progression, scramble lane opened up kind of in the same direction as where Woody's check down was, and as I pushed up in the pocket, he ended up making a big time block, and I was able to find a way in the end zone.
I think coming out of halftime or throughout the game, you guys ended up rotating the right guard. Juice Scruggs got in and middle of the shift there. Did that decision or adjustment kind of help you guys throughout the game? Because after that, it seemed like the offensive line played a lot cleaner, a lot smoother, and you were able to get rhythm and finish drives off for Houston.
I mean, I think our offensive line did a great job the whole game. I mean, even when Blake comes in for a lot of the jumbo stuff, we were able to run the football really efficiently today, especially on those last couple drives when the team needed it. We were able to lean on those guys and march down the field.
This is the second largest comeback in franchise history. It's 26-0 differential in the fourth quarter. What was the moment that you started to realize that you guys weren't just putting up points to be able to make this thing close, but it was starting to feel more so we're going to be able to pull this thing off?
I mean, I think the whole team had faith we were going to win that game the entire time. Like I said before, I mean, I think our team is very confident in our own abilities. We have a lot of players who can make plays, and we just needed to get things clicking. And as we went out there, I think we really only had, one possession in the third quarter, and went down. We were able to drive the ball pretty well in the fourth quarter. And like I said before, defense kept finding ways to get off the field. Daniil was joking around with me in the locker room. He's like, our defense is good, man. And he was like, keep finding ways to go down and score points on offense, and we're going to keep getting you guys the ball back. So having that in the back of my head and being able to trust the guys around me, especially on the other side of the ball, to go out there and make plays. I mean, it was just a hard-fought win. It was fun.
Talking to the guys in the locker room, they all said, like, nothing surprised them about what they saw from you today because this is who you've been. Talk about, and you may have already talked about it, how you've been able to maintain in the backup role the confidence and just kind of the even keel to get through the ups and downs of the game.
I mean, that's what you got to do. I think with my current circumstance, backing up to CJ, I come in with the mentality every day that I'm going to bring my best self to the facility every morning. I'm going to push everyone around me to become the best football player they can be, and I'm going to push myself to become the best football player I can be. I mean, I've had that mentality, kind of cool, calm, and collected at all times. I'm here to work and do my job, and it was fun. I mean, the guys had faith in me that I could go out there and get the job done. But I mean, we've done that every single day when we come to work, continuing to just execute the little things and go out there and find a way to get a win. It was fun.
7 catches, 135 yards. You've been working with him since 2021 when you guys got drafted in the third round together. What does it mean to have a security blanket like Nico Collins that can always go up, make a big time play, and make your job a little bit easier knowing that he is always going to be at the right place at the right time?
I mean, it's a lot of fun. Nico's a playmaker. I think he's pretty much a mismatch against everyone they put on the other side. I think a lot of defensives starting to get him into a lot of cloud coverage, double coverage over top of him, and they find ways to take him out of the game. But anytime they don't, we're looking to find a way to get him the ball. And I mean, he's grown a lot since 2021 when we were rookies. And I mean, I just wish the best for him and continue to light up the league.
Speaking of rookies, can you just talk about the kind of production you're getting from some of the rookies, especially on offense? Guys that continue to step up, like a Lee Marks or Jaden or Jalen?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of young guys. Ariante, left tackle. I mean, he's played extremely well this whole year, and he keeps getting better every week. I think a lot of our young guys have a great mentality where they're coming to work every week, and they all ask a ton of questions and want to know more about the game of football at the highest level, to continue pushing.
Davis getting you fired up.
But I mean, yeah, Tay's done a great job. Jalen, Jaden, Woody, I mean, we have a lot of guys contributing who, when a young guy comes in, you never want it to seem like there's a young guy in the football game. They're out here making plays. They know exactly what their job is on every play, and I mean, it's fun having them out there in the huddle because they bring some juice. Cool. Thanks.
All right, there you go. Davis Mills. Not the most exciting guy, but hell of an exciting performance by Davis Mills. My goodness, what a performance. Best QB performance I've seen in a while. That's not a shot at CJ. We've seen some good ones from CJ, but as far as the clutch way he went about things, DeMeco said he thought they moved the ball consistently throughout the day. I would agree with that. There was a time where they were off the field, and obviously it didn't start well. I think Christian Kirk's got to come back for the ball. If we're going to also acknowledge, Davis Mills probably was a little bit dangerous with the football a number of times, as was Trevor Lawrence. But as far as just the overall performance, the clutch, all that, that was great. I mean, it wasn't as impressive as the Tampa Bay CJ Stroud against Tampa Bay, but it was kind of the same vibe. I mean, you didn't have Dare Ogunbowale out there kicking field goals and all that. But that was arguably CJ Stroud's best performance. That was better than this one, but it was kind of the same vibe once Davis got it rolling, specifically on third down. The 3rd and 10 touchdown pass to Higgins, then the 3rd and 3 back corner to Dalton Schultz, and then the run. I mean, we talk about we like to see CJ run a little bit more. It'd be interesting to see if he's willing to do that, or if it still remains perhaps an even bigger issue after getting hurt. But I thought this was kind of similar to the TB vibes from 2023. But it was a hell of a performance that goes beyond anything that we've seen, and maybe it's something that puts CJ in a good spot to where he handles his business. The Buffalo Bills will be in town on Thursday, 2 Thursdays from now. Maybe that's where we see CJ Stroud come back. They're not looking awesome right now, Buffalo, and we know DeMeco and the way this defense is playing, they could perhaps get some stuff done. But that's really where we got to keep an eye on when it comes to that. Back to Z-Chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Is that Mills or Easterby talking to the media? I'm not sure what those guys really have in common.
Race car!
Easterby's a little more hokey. AA says EXECUTE. It was execute or have your season executed, and they did execute. 21 Savage. Better see you at Spanky's. We're at Spanky's this Friday and next Friday. Hopefully we see 21 Savage. Myself, Cody Stutz, will be at Spanky's Sharpstown this week. 3 o'clock to whenever, and 3 o'clock to whenever. The day after the Buffalo game, 2 days before the Titans game. This is an awesome time to be alive and an awesome time to do our thing at Spanky's. So we hope to see you there. Hex 2809 says, Mill reminds me of Mike Winchell from FNL. I don't know who that is. Probably more people in the chat do, but I have no idea who that is. But he could remind you of a lot of people. Did you see the Jags coach tantrum at the end? Liam Cohen? I did not, but I have a good idea of what it looked like because he's been known to throw a tantrum or two. Let's talk about some unsung heroes. Reaction Monday tomorrow is brought to you by the greatness that is TDECU. Shout out to TDECU, that Texans debit card. Get that Texans gear if you so choose. 15% off the Texans team shop with that new Texans debit card. Membership required, insured by NCUA. All you got to do to get it is you got to go to tdecu.org/Texans. You sign up, you get a lot of perks. The perks go beyond just the gear. Some people are getting University of Houston debit cards. Some people get the Buc-ee's debit card, but for the sake of this program and the people who roll through here, you might want that fresh new logo Texans debit card, which CJ Stroud happens to have, and he is also a partner of TDECU. Go to tdecu.org/Texans. Get that fresh debit card. And in the spirit of the greatness that is TDECU, it is time for the TDECU where credit is due. Guys who probably aren't getting game balls, but they damn sure could. Trent Brown, number one. I did not think he could play over 35 snaps in a football game. What a massive human being he is. And he did a good job filling in today. So Trent Brown, I had the bet with Cody Stutes. I have to eat when he was at his fattest fast food order now as a result of Trent Brown playing 35 or more plays during a stream. So in an hour of time, I'm probably going to have to eat like 6 burgers and some fries. And we'll see how that goes. MJ Stewart carded off today. Season in question, but I thought he did a very nice job. Kind of got turned around on the touchdown. But I thought he did a nice job filling in for CJ Gardner-Johnson. I actually thought he was a clear upgrade over CJ Gardner-Johnson at the safety position. So credit to him for doing what he did. Hopefully he recovers and is able to resume his football career. And then Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell, you did a good job raising some really quality wide receivers. They might not use them enough, but we saw Jalen Knoll. We saw him on the 4th down. We saw him on the 3rd. We saw them use him a little bit more. Kind of the pass, I think they got Davis Mills going a little bit. That rollout throw to him. They actually ran other versions of that play later on. Thought Nick Caley did a good job mixing it up. But Matt Campbell, you did a good job with those young men. And they've also remained positive and ready to go even when they don't get their opportunities. So Matt Campbell, MJ Stewart, Trent Brown, that is the where credit is due presented by TDECU. Get that Texans debit card. TDECU.org/Texans. 15% off at the team shop. Yes, Trent Brown was freaking great today. I just, if that can last, that would be great. Let's go through the key moments here in the locker room post-game show. Right off the top, people, the Davis Mills concern, it showed its ugly head. Davis Mills threw an INT on the opening drive. It ended up leading to a Jags field goal. I thought the Texans actually did a good job of standing strong there. But right off the top, you see the Jags steal 3 points from the Texans. And by steal, I mean Texans give it to them and they just take it. But they did not find the end zone and the Texans kept them out, which would not be the case a short time after that when Tremon Smith would fumble on the kick return. The Jags would then find Parker Washington, I think, for the touchdown. That would give them a 10-0 lead. And you're already kind of worried because Davis Mills is at quarterback. It's not CJ Stroud. So would 10 points be too much? Texans second drive, you could hear the overzealous, upset Texans fans. They started booing. The boo birds were out on the Texans second drive, and you wondered, was this going to be the low point? However, that would not be the case. Despite going down 17-0 after a Parker Washington punt return would give the Jags the 17-0 lead. He falls into the end zone, and the Jags take the 17-0 lead. And the offensive line shuffle continues. The Texans tried to start a practice squad guy from the Patriots over Juice Scruggs today. He only lasted 2 series, and he was benched. Really weird decision by Cole Popovich. I don't – they really do not – they don't want to play Blake Fisher, and they don't want to play Juice Scruggs. But this was just a lot, and immediately they regretted it when they put Juice Scruggs back on the field. So the Texans down 17-0. They show a little bit of life with the rookies. The rookies sparked the offense, but very familiar thing happens. The Texans unable to get in the end zone, and they settle for a field goal to make it 17-3. Jags still with the lead. Scary moment for the Texans. MJ Stewart gets carted off. Not good. He had the air cast on. Again, very good job by MJ Stewart filling in and really being an upgrade from CJ Gardner-Johnson. Then the Texans, very undisciplined team. Kamari Lassiter. It's one thing to hit the head when you're not looking, but when you're looking down at a guy that you just hit, and he immediately knew it, he got a dumb penalty. But the Jags unable to get in the end zone, so they have to settle for 3 again. We talk about settling for 3. Texans were able to do it against the 49ers. They were unable to do it against against better squads, and this was just one of those situations. Last week they were unable to do it. This was just one of those situations where the Jags were settling for 3, and crazy enough, Davis Mills starts cooking, and that's not going to happen. So then the Texans cut the lead to 10 on a Marks touchdown. Davis Mills with some nice throws. Woody Marks, little pop, bounces it outside, and the Texans are down 20-10, only down 10 at half. Now that Lance Zierlein put it pretty interestingly. I said the Texans lucky to just be down 10. Lance said the Jags are fortunate to be up 10. I can agree with that. I can agree with that because the Jags really, I don't think they had 70 yards of total offense in the first half. They settled for 3. They were gifted 10 points. The 10 points is what their lead was. They also had the punt return touchdown. So the Jags, they didn't look great. However, they came out in the second half and they kind of big bodied the Texans defense early on. Now, again, they had to settle for 3. This is the theme, settling for 3. Texans defense, bend don't break. The Jags had 3 to start the second half to give them a 23-10 lead. Then probably the most frustrating play up to this point, Texans trying to make it a 1-possession game. Davis Mills throws an absolute dime to Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz drops it. It killed any momentum. Before that, you could say that there was a missed pass interference on Higgins in the end zone that would have resulted in the Texans getting the ball at the 1. Didn't happen. They ended up punting. And then the Jags just completely exposed the Texans defense, the weaknesses. They make the linebackers cover. They were doing it to Alshire the whole day. And then Henry To'oTo'o gets caught. And the Texans end up trailing 29-10 after the Jags score. So 29-10, 3-possession game. Doesn't look great. But then on 3rd and 10, Davis Mills finds Higgins. It makes it 29-18 because Nico Collins catches a one-handed pass right there in the front corner of the end zone to make it 29-18. So touchdown, 2-point conversion, and field goal. And you have a tie ball game. So those points that the Texans were giving away, they're now taking a little bit. Then the Texans get the ball back. Davis Mills, another 3rd down. You saw him throw the touchdown pass to Higgins on 3rd and 10. 3rd and 3, DeMeco killed a timeout. I didn't love killing the timeout here to save 3rd and 8 from 3rd and 3. Probably would have liked to have that, but different strokes for different coach. But Mills finds Schultz for the TD to make it 29-24. The 2-point conversion, just an absolute disaster. But the Texans down 29-24 with 7 minutes left. And that is all you could ask for up to this point. Then the play of the year so far on offense, you get to the 2-yard line after a pass interference on Christian Kirk.
Captain Kirk has arrived.
Has he? I
repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
I don't know if he's really arrived, but you get to the 2-yard line. You get a false start on Ursery. You get a false start on Trent Brown. You get a bad play by Woody Marks. You get what perhaps could have been a pass interference on Nico Collins in the end zone. They didn't call. But then on 3rd and goal from the 14, Davis Mills uses his legs. He dives into the end zone to give the Texans the 1-point lead. Now, the offensive line had kind of wet the bed up to that point, and on the 2-point attempt, looked like a low snap from Andrews. So the Texans are only up 1. I don't know if you heard this 1 or 500 or 700 or a million times today, but the Jags field goal kicker can kick long field goals, which J.J. Watt and Ian Eagle made very clear. So you're up 1 point. The defense, they failed in these situations. Trevor Lawrence had a long run that kind of put the Texans on their heels. But then the defense, they end up coming up big, and they end up putting the FU at the end with the Sheldon Rankins touchdown to make it 36-29. The Texans beat the Jags. DeMeco Ryans, all types of excited, and the defense, they did their part. I mean, this is an elite defense. Sometimes you almost feel like you're being hard on your honor students whenever you critique what the defense does or doesn't do. It almost feels like you're kind of nitpicking. But in this instance, unlike against Tampa Bay, where they were unable to make the stop, unlike against Jacksonville last time they faced them, and you had the long play to Brian Thomas that resulted in the game-winning field goal, and unlike against the Rams early on, they were able to do it. They rewarded the efforts, second-half efforts of Davis Mills, and they overcame special teams. This wasn't complimentary. I mean, if this were a party, basically, the special teams, they were the person that showed up to the party, and they basically just ate all the food, threw up on the floor, ended up getting blackout drunk, and trying to fight everybody, and scared off all the chicks. That's basically the equivalent of what the special teams was today. They were terrible. And that was a very meat-headed analogy by me. But sometimes it just be like that. But they overcome the special teams. They overcome the piss-poor performance by Trevor Lawrence. And they overcome some early mistakes. And the Texans get a win. They keep their season alive. Tennessee next. Is that kind of a trap game? Jeffrey Simmons might be back. Know that the Titans kind of value beating the Texans more than most. You don't want to get trapped. Buffalo got trapped this week against the Dolphins, and it happens quite often where you get trapped. Texans got to be very careful heading into this game against the Titans, and they got to get up to 5-5. That's been the goal from the jump, and that's what they need to do. If the Bills can lose to the Dolphins 30-13, then anything can happen. So they got to avoid that trap if they're going to do what we said that they needed to do in order to keep the season alive. But step one was this, and so far so good for Davis Mills. We'll see what happens with CJ, and if CJ ends up coming back. But that's where the Texans are. Let's get to the biggest takeaways of the game, as well as a couple more people want to talk on the chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Zenister says Texans are 2-0 with J.J. Watt announcing. Okay, there's a hell of a stat. I did not know that stat, but there you go. St. Louis Rebel says Kaylee finally woke up and gave Noel more snaps than Kirk. Okay, there you go. So there was that. And then the biggest takeaways. Takeaway one, Davis Mills put on the best QB performance of the season, I think. I think Davis Mills, when you factor in everything, I think he put on the best QB performance. And hopefully this can be like a moment. DeMeco said, this film could teach us a lot moving forward. Maybe we see better performances from the offense moving forward, and they kind of build on this. And maybe we look back and say it was nice of Davis Mills to do that. Case Keenum kept the 2023 season alive. So he did his thing. Then we have takeaway two, Danielle Hunter, best player on the field today. Danielle Hunter, 3.5 sacks, best player on the field, no doubt. Takeaway three, the special teams was in the way today. The special teams wasn't along for the ride. Special teams was not along for the ride. So that is not great. Takeaway four, the season is still alive. We said it after week 3. The season is still alive. And then takeaway 5, the offensive line, they hung in there. I thought Davis Mills did a good job of making the offensive line look okay. I thought he did a good job of making the first guy miss. We know that C.J. Stroud does that well. I thought Davis Mills did a hell of a job doing that as well. So there you go. A dub. Much better. I know DeMeco thinks negativity. I did not want to cover a team, a 3-6 football team with no hope of making the playoffs. I would much rather cover a team that has a puncher's chance of making the playoffs. So let's see how that goes. It should be fun. And it's going to be a fun reaction Monday tomorrow presented by TDECU. Subscribe, like, right along. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for coming through.
Top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.